Have you ever wondered what happens when a luxury cruise turns into a nightmare? Imagine you're aboard a stunning vessel, the Costa Concordia, sipping wine under the stars. It was January 13th, 2012, a night that promised elegance but delivered disaster. The Costa Concordia, a 290-meter floating palace with 17 decks, boasted theaters, restaurants, and pools, and was carrying over 4,200 souls. This wasn't just a cruise, it was a dream on the sea. The ship departed from Civitavecchia, Italy, heading for Savona. On board were families, honeymooners, retirees, all eager for a Mediterranean escape. The captain, Francesco Schettino, was experienced and confident. But that night, he made a decision that would haunt history. As a salute to the island of Giglio, a maneuver to sail close and impress locals, Schettino steered off the official route. But unknown to many passengers enjoying their dinners, the ship was heading dangerously close to the rocky shores. At 9:45 p.m., disaster struck. A massive rock tore a 50-meter gash in the hull, and water rushed into the engine rooms. Panic spread quickly, but the lights stayed on, confusing passengers who thought it was just a mechanical glitch. The ship started tilting, slowly at first, then sharply. People dropped their forks and scrambled to understand what was happening. Schettino initially downplayed the damage. For over an hour he assured everyone things were under control, but control had long been lost. The ship was drifting, powerless, and listing heavily. Confusion reigned. Crew members received little direction, and evacuation procedures lagged. By the time the alarm was sounded, lifeboats on the tilting side were unusable. Passengers were now trapped, and time was running out. Calls flooded the Coast Guard. One particular exchange would soon become infamous. Captain Schettino had already abandoned ship. Coast Guard Commander Gregorio De Falco ordered him back on board. "Vada a bordo, cazzo! Get back on board, damn it!" But Schettino did not return. His reasoning? He fell into a lifeboat. On board, the crew and remaining officers were left to manage chaos. Lifeboats were deployed too late, and some jammed. As the ship leaned further, people jumped into the freezing sea. One survivor recalled clinging to a rope for hours, praying not to be crushed by the steel giant. Helicopters hovered overhead, hoisting people from the decks. Firefighters, divers, and civilians on Giglio Island joined the rescue effort. Many risked their lives. By dawn, the Costa Concordia lay on its side in shallow waters, a grotesque monument to a luxury voyage gone wrong. In total, 32 people lost their lives. Countless others suffered injuries and trauma, and the man meant to lead, the captain, had fled. The world was outraged. The man once hailed as a maritime professional was now branded Captain Coward. Francesco Schettino became the face of maritime failure. In 2015, his trial commenced in Grosseto, Italy. The charges: manslaughter, causing a shipwreck, and abandoning ship. The prosecution painted him as negligent and self-serving. He had turned a controlled voyage into a catastrophe. Testimonies revealed chilling details. A cadet claimed Schettino leapt into a lifeboat, contradicting the captain's story. Crew members described confusion, lack of orders, and panic. The infamous audio of De Falco scolding Schettino played in court. It echoed the betrayal felt by the nation. Schettino argued he didn't flee, but tripped into safety. The claim was met with public ridicule. The court wasn't convinced. After 19 months of hearings, Schettino was sentenced to 16 years in prison. He appealed, but Italy's highest court upheld the verdict. In 2017, he entered Rebibbia prison in Rome. Justice, some felt, had been served, but the scars remained. Removing the Costa Concordia was a massive challenge. The ship was 114,000 tons, partially submerged. It became one of the most complex maritime salvage efforts in history. Over 500 workers from 26 countries participated. They used cranes, flotation devices, and underwater platforms. In 2014, the ship was finally refloated and towed to Genoa for scrapping. The operation cost over $1.2 billion. For Giglio Island residents, it was bittersweet. Tourism boomed, but so did trauma. Many islanders had joined the rescue efforts that night. Their heroism is often overlooked. Memorials now mark the island, honoring the 32 lives lost. The Concordia tragedy reshaped maritime regulations. Safety drills are now mandatory before departure, a rule that wasn't enforced the night of the disaster. Ships must follow stricter route monitoring systems. Crew training standards have been revised worldwide. The cruise industry, once known for glamour, face tough questions about responsibility and risk. Could this happen again? Experts say regulations now reduce that chance. But trust, once broken, takes time to rebuild. The Costa Concordia serves as a reminder. Even in luxury, safety is never guaranteed. The story of Costa Concordia has been retold in documentaries, books, and dramatizations. The Netflix documentary, The Sinking of the Concordia Caught on Camera, brought haunting visuals to a global audience. Survivors shared raw testimonies, revealing personal horrors behind headlines. News footage captured chaos, children crying, adults leaping, and rescuers battling waves. The media dubbed Schettino the most hated man in Italy, but some argued the cruise company also bore blame. Court records showed Costa Cruises delayed alerting authorities. The tragedy became more than a tale of cowardice. It was also about systemic failure. More than a decade later, the Costa Concordia haunts maritime history. Survivors continue to live with the trauma, both physical and emotional. The island of Giglio carries the memory in its waters and stones. Maritime academies now teach the Concordia as a case study in failure, and Schettino, he remains in prison, a symbol of what not to do. But the real heroes, the crew members who stayed, the islanders who helped, the passengers who showed courage, deserve the spotlight. We must remember them and the lives lost, not just the scandal. If you found this story gripping, subscribe to Infinity for more shocking true tales and forgotten tragedies. Share this video to keep the legacy and the lessons alive.